Nicki Minaj has always come to the defense of weirdos and monsters, from her brother, who is currently rotting in prison for unspeakable crimes, to her husband, who was convicted of suspiciously similar crimes, and now she's found herself a new predator to protect: Donald Trump. Nicki is in hot water with the entire hip-hop community for a now deleted post praising Trump in rap format. And this comes after appearing with Trump's goons at the United Nations, pushing forward a fascist narrative that Nigeria is committing genocide against Christians. We'll dive into what is really going on while trying to navigate the insane asylum that is Nicki Minaj's brain.
You alright? Huh? You okay?
Be sure you're subbed to US Democratic Socialists. We're growing fast, and that's thanks to all of you guys. The latest in Nicki's reign of terror is a 4-bar pro-Trump rap that she threatened us all with. This thing was so bad that she actually deleted it. You can see in this Complex article that the post is no longer found, but luckily the internet is forever, so I've got the post for you here. It says, "United Nations was a MAGA flex, Trump on the text. Y'all should be afraid of what I'm going to do next." It's got a picture of the White House in all pink and Chucky, who's her latest, obsession, drinking. Actually, I think it's a Bloody Mary. Now, a couple of things here. This shit is not a MAGA flex. The United Nations has been held hostage by the US pretty much since its inception. Americans going there to accuse other nations of violence in order to justify intervention is pretty much standard fare. Second thing, we all know what comes next, Nicki. No one is afraid of you wearing a pink MAGA hat at the White House, shaking ass in front of 20 racist women with Mar-a-Lago face. The GOP has been dragging out performers like Nicki to sing and dance and do their bidding since before Jackie Robinson showed up at the Republican convention. Yet somehow Mrs. Minaj here thinks she's actually doing something with this. Some of her more delusional fans, which there are a lot of, are trying to say that she's doing some sort of 4D chess, like this is a master at work. This Barb said she's literally trolling. If you knew, you would have known she flipped a Jay-Z line and replaced names. Duh, guys, don't you see? The comment directly underneath it is perfectly accurate. Them Barbs will do mental gymnastics to try to make this make sense. In reality, Nicki has been microdosing MAGA for a while now, but it looks like she's ready to take the full crazy pill. Yesterday, she posted these pics with Fox host Ferris Faulkner, the ugly stepchild over at that network, who they only bring on to serve as a model for how black women are apparently supposed to be, mostly unseen and unheard. But here comes Nicki sitting next to a sunken person from Get Out, thinking she's about to shock the world. What's really shocking is how she thought it would be a good idea to get up in front of the UN and speak on the alleged genocide of Christians in Nigeria, a place that she, as a Trinidadian American, has no right to speak on.
I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief. I stand here as a proud New Yorker with a deep sense of gratitude that we live in a country where we can freely and safely worship God regardless of one's creed, background, or politics. No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion, like I recently stated on social media. And we don't have to share the same beliefs in order for us to respect each other. We're way beyond thinking or expecting or assuming for, the person sitting next to you to have the exact same beliefs. We're beyond that. That's ridiculous. But that shouldn't make one person feel less safe than anyone in any room.
Now, the situation in Nigeria is incredibly complicated, but what's definitely not happening is a Christian genocide in any way that you would describe one. There's no doubt Christians being killed in Nigeria, but they're being killed at the same rate as any other religion. The Nigerian government branded this a hoax and called it a misrepresentation of our complex security reality, which affects citizens of all faiths. Daniel Bwala, a special advisor to the Nigerian president, told PBS, "As a responsible government, we refuse to approach this fight against terrorism from a profiling point of view. That's why we discourage the idea that it is a targeted Christian. It's a hoax. It's a hoax." This mirrors Trump's claims of a white genocide in South Africa, a claim that has no bearing in truth other than to pander to the replacement theory psychopaths who make up a shockingly large portion of the MAGA base. Here's reporting from the BBC. Earlier this month, Trump said he would send troops into Nigeria, guns a-blazing, if its government continues to allow the killing of Christians. The Nigerian government has pushed back on these claims, describing them as a gross misrepresentation of reality. An official said that terrorists attack all who reject their murderous ideology, Muslims, Christians, and those of no faith alike. Organizations monitoring political violence in Nigeria say most victims of the jihadist groups are Muslims. But maybe you don't believe the Nigerian government. Maybe they have a reason to hide a genocide. We all know of at least one country that does such a thing, and of another that arms said country while denying the whole thing. Here's reporting from the New York Times. Trump says violence against Christians in Nigeria is genocide. It's not so simple. Kidnappings and terror attacks in Nigeria are common and widespread, with more than 8,000 people killed this year alone. But the attacks are not new, and there is no evidence to suggest Christians are attacked any more frequently than Muslims. On Friday, gunmen abducted at least 52 students from a Catholic school in central Nigeria. On Monday, kidnappers took about 25 Muslim students from a school in the northwestern part of the country. The fate of the kidnapped students is not known. Contrary to Mr. Trump's claim of genocide, there are different types of violence happening across the country, with no one-size-fits-all explanation. Nigeria is Africa's most populous nation, with, by some estimates, more than 230 million people. It's geographically huge and ethnically diverse, with over 300 languages spoken. Even within a single region, attributing the violence to a single group or motivation is tricky. Jihadist groups are responsible for violence in the Northeast against Christians and Muslims. They are also involved in economically motivated attacks by so-called bandits in the Northwest. But really, you should take it from the people there on the ground in Nigeria. Here's a lawyer and social reform advocate, Dr. Bulema Bukarti, speaking on how out-of-pocket Nicki Minaj really is.
Shaun, it tells you how seriously these people take our lives, that a musician will be invited to the United Nations who has never been to Nigeria, as far as I know, will be invited to the United Nations to speak on insecurity when we have eminent experts in Nigeria, when we have survivors in Nigeria, when we have families who have lost loved ones in Nigeria, when we have a government in Nigeria. None of them got invited to the United Nations to seriously discuss the issue. It was a musician who has no relationship with Nigeria and know nothing about Nigeria that was invited. And when she went, Shaun, what did she do? She gave a speech in which she claims to care for Nigerian Christians, but she was laughing at the end of the speech. Less than 5 minutes, less than 2 minutes after she has spoken about Christians being persecuted, and she was laughing in the same speech, and she was using the speech for advertising her work. saying she's looking forward to meeting her fans and laughing and enjoying herself. That's how seriously they take our lives.
In reality, this is just the United States' latest attempt to destabilize an already weakened African nation. Here's another article from the New York Times. Nigeria, in Trump's crosshairs, rejects Christian genocide claims. We don't want to be the next Libya. We don't want to be the next Sudan, said Yusuf Tugar, Nigeria's foreign minister, referring to two African nations that were splintered by devastating conflicts in recent decades. It is not in the interests of the rest of the world for Nigeria to be pushed to the precipice. Mr. Tugar called on Washington to support Nigeria's democracy instead of attempting to break us up and turning us into a failed state. Muhammad Idris, the information minister, said in a statement that claims of Christian persecution in Nigeria are false, baseless, despicable, and divisive. Christianity is neither endangered nor marginalized in Nigeria, he said. Indeed, Nigeria is home to Africa's largest Christian population, according to Pew Research, and is one of the world's biggest. There are more than 90 million Christians in Nigeria, on par with Mexico and the Philippines. Nicki is essentially allowing herself to be a useful idiot for a regime that seeks any reason at all to stage yet another invasion of a sovereign nation on the false pretense of spreading democracy. Oh, does it get any more American than that? Oh, yes, of course it does, because the United States is primarily interested in protecting the investments of American oil and gas companies, who are just itching to stick their straw into Nigeria's milkshake and slurp it all up. Does this all sound strangely familiar to y'all? Vaguely Venezuelan? It's funny how all of these oil-rich companies just need to be liberated, despite the current U.S. economy looking about as ugly as the inside of Trump's adult diapers. Oops, I said diapers. Here comes Nicki Minaj's entire family. Be sure to subscribe to U.S. Democratic Socialists and join our ever-growing community here on YouTube. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.